All right, now the focus is on sports docket. And as you're aware, now Ambassador Amina Mohammed is handling the sports ministry. Rashid Chesa has been shown the door. In studio, I'm joined by two gentlemen who know the trade very well. Former Harambee Stars captain Anthony Kimani, and of course, a renowned sports commentator and journalist, Mr. Fred Arocho. Of course, he's known as Ndwendwe si Ndwendwe. Karibu sana studio.
Thank you very much.
All right. Modo,
yes,
good to see you, man.
Good to see you as well.
Karibu
good to see you as well.
Yes. Now, when you talk about the reshuffle, of course, I'll start with you, Bwana Arocho. You know, sports has been something closer to our hearts for a very long time. And you see the talks from social media, verbally, the corridors saying that, tena, Amina Mohammed ameleta sports. There's a problem over here. Now, what do you think, from where you're sitting, what do you think, Bwana Arocho?
Well, I don't want to be hard on Amina, but I think this is a misplaced kind of appointment. I hope it's just something that is being done in an interim kind of arrangement. Why am I saying so? I think time has come that sports need to be taken seriously. From time immemorial, you'll realize that the sport ministry, first of all, has been having a very kind of a skeleton budget. When you look at the several ministries that are normally given the allocation, you realize that sport is one ministry that is always given some sort of a raw deal as far as the allocation is concerned. And two, the manpower that is normally brought in the sports industry ministry, I think has not been something that is you can be proud of. Okay. I think time has come that sportsmen should be given an opportunity to run the show in this ministry. For example, look at what is happening in the Ministry of Finance or any other ministry that is sensitive. You realize that someone who has a background of that kind of ministry is normally given that ministry to handle. Okay. For example, Professor Magoha is someone who has been in the education sector for some time. You realize that he was also the Vice Chancellor of Nairobi University at a given time. This shows you that it's someone who has been in that trade. With all due respect to Ambassador Amina, I think somebody needs to come in, somebody who knows what happens. And the reason why we've always been goofing as far as the sport is concerned is because we have a head that doesn't really know exactly what happens. So guys down here can really mess him up or mess her up. Okay. So I think it's a misplaced kind of an appointment. And I think it's high time that the president, who is the appointing authority, should reconsider giving a sportsman an opportunity to head that ministry.
Anthony Kimani, what's your sentiment about all this now?
I agree with Arocho, more or less. I think there were two major appointments that His Excellency the President made the last couple of days. And while, you know, Professor Magoha's appointment was received with a lot of excitement and a lot of expectations, the same cannot be said, with the appointment of Amina Mohammed. And I think it's for two reasons. She's a career, lawyer and diplomat. So again, as Arocho clearly stated, she does not have any background in sports, as far as we know. And then again, her PS, is also a career diplomat, Ambassador Kaberia. So again, you have two people who are heading a very, very sensitive docket in as far as we are concerned. I don't know whether the government holds the same view that sports is very, very vital in any country's development. And again, in terms of ensuring that we get a lot of employment for very, very many youths out there who have no employment. So again, it's that question that still lingers in everybody's head. Is she really going to be capable of running this particular department that has not, I think, been moving in the right direction for the better part of our time? All the previous ministers that we've had have not really delivered. We had Wario the other day. Right now, he's being accused of corruption, of a corruption incident, I think, that happened in Rio. There was a lot of money that was siphoned that is yet to be brought to everybody's attention as far as who is culpable, who stole that money. So again, it's a department that for the longest time has not delivered to Kenyans. And so we hope that really Ambassador Mohammed, Amina Mohammed, is going to do what everybody thinks that maybe she can do.
Okay. Now, Arocho, let's focus back to Chesa. What did he do for the sports ministry?
Well, there's nothing really that you can put your finger that the minister did, because look at the kind of environment that is working around. I think Chesa was more, more or less a political figure, if I may say so, because it was quite rare to see him in sports arenas. I once saw him at Carnival when there was a boxing bout there. I saw him several occasions when Harambee Stars was playing. And I cannot put my finger on anything that he did that is somehow tangible. Look at the fact that the Harambee Stars coach has not been paid for 3 to 4 months. He's always been complaining about his payment. And that basically is normally a role of the government to pay the national team coach. We are heading to the Africa Cup of Nations just 3 to 4 months down the lane. We still don't know exactly where we are as far as the finances are concerned, because that team needs money, and that one squarely falls on his ministry. The other day we were having some few changes within the Sports Act which were not really driven by him, or were not really driven by that ministry. Other stakeholders lobbied the parliament to have some sort of a change in the Sports Act that is expected to govern the sports fraternity in the country. So basically, I think he lost his footing. I think he didn't really know exactly what was his roles as far as a minister is concerned. He concentrated more on politics. And you know, when you do a lot of politics and you're expected to be in the office at work, then you step on a lot of people's areas. And that's, for me, is another main reason why I think Echesa lost his job.
Just hold it there, Mr. Modo. We're just taking a short break now. When you come back, we want to focus on the nitty-gritties of Amina's responsibility. Trust me, there's so much to be done, from stadiums, from preparing Harambee Stars for the African Cup of Nations. So many things, not only football, also so many other sports, basketball, hockey, so much to do. All that coming after a short break. Welcome back to Morning Live, and of course reactions on Ambassador Amina Mohamed's appointment to the Sports Ministry. In studio is renowned journalist and sports commentator Fred Erocho, and former Harambee Stars captain Anthony Kimani, and of course telling us about her responsibility next. So the docket is no joke, and Modo, you know very well that indeed sports fans are kind of sometimes very, very fragile in one way or another, but you see, responsibilities are responsibilities. You've been given the task, you have to do it. You can't now do anything about it. Very true. What is awaiting Ambassador Amina Mohamed?
Well, I think her work is well cut out. And first of all, I think she needs to address the issue of stadiums, because that has been a thorn in the flesh of sports lovers in this country for the longest time. We right now have our second biggest stadium, Nyayo Stadium, that has been closed for the longest time. I think more than 2 years right now, undergoing renovations. We are yet to know when it might be officially opened. So that's just one of the biggest challenge that I think we'll be facing now. And of course, she's serving under a regime that promised Kenyans 5 stadiums, during the elections, and we are yet to see any of the stadiums. So again, she'll have a very, very, hard task in as far as ensuring that at least if we don't have new stadiums coming up, at least we can, repair or renovate the ones that we currently have to reach the FIFA standards. The second thing, I think we have a lot of federations that are underfunded. So again, she has a very, very big challenge in terms of sourcing for funds to ensure that our federations can smoothly run in terms of, their financial, obligations. Again, I think we've also had federations that have been, running rowdy because we don't have a policy that sort of governs these particular federations. Yes, the Sports Act was implemented in 2013, but nobody has really put pressure on these federations to ensure that it's followed to the letter. Because one of the stipulations that were passed in that particular bill was that federations should only have a sitting president who can serve for 2 terms. And right now we have not had elections in the Athletics Kenya department ever since the previous regime moved out in 2012. So again, that just begs the question, are we really following what was stipulated in the Sports Act? So those are just some of the challenges that I think he's really, really going to have to address.
Yes, I echo what Modo has said. I think she has a lot to do. She really needs to put that ministry in order.
Okay.
First of all, I think she needs to meet the stakeholders. She needs to meet the federation officials. Though I've been having issues with federations in this country. I tend to think that most of federations in this country are some sort of retirement schemes where people, once they're done with politics or they're done with other issues, they move into these federations, and they don't adhere to even their own constitutions.
Sure.
So I think she really needs to stamp her authority in various federations. She needs also to take good care of the rugby national team. I think things have not been well within our rugby national team, though the other day, yesterday I think, we won a match at Las Vegas. It's taken some time before we've seen positive results from our national rugby sevens.
Team,
she also needs to stamp some authority within the athletic fraternity. We've been having issues as far as doping is concerned, as far as us consuming substances which are not supposed to be consumed in that fraternity. Then she also needs to reorganize these other what we call small federations, the handballs of this world, basketball. Basically, we need to have some feel of what's happening in at least all and each and every federation. And ultimately, she needs also to stamp some authority in soccer. I think there's a lot of uncertainty within the game at the moment. Once again, I reiterate the issue about our national team coach.
Absolutely. I think it's the only federation
Yes.
that is paid by the government. The coach is actually paid. The only one in Kenya, is it?
Yes. I think there she needs to stamp some authority, because we've had a coach who's been very tolerant. We've been off AFCON for the last 15 years. The new coach came in and we saw he brought in some fresh breath into the team, and there we are going to Cairo. So she needs also to address that, because when the coach is uncomfortable, definitely the team is uncomfortable. She needs to come in, sit down with the FKF and try and streamline that, because the coach has been paid. Yes, I think he was paid in October, November. Then there was some few issues in December.
Some tension also.
Yes,
always, there's no money, I will leave. Wow.
But of course, surely he is a foreigner. You cannot live in Kenya and you don't have anything in your pocket. She needs to address that. And well, let's give her some benefit of doubt, but she has a lot to do.
Absolutely. Does she need help? Like, you understand, you've actually been talking about Kaberia, career diplomat, of course, Ambassador Amina Mohammed, career diplomat now. Do you need some help from the stakeholders who are hands-on from the grassroots? You know what I mean?
Yes.
You guys need to help the CAs now. You have been in the sports industry for quite some time. Guys are mentioning even the likes of Kara Radul. So many people also. Arocho, you're here, man. I think she needs some people who are kind of technocrats in that sector itself.
She certainly needs help because when you've been given a certain role or a certain job, and you're not really well equipped to handle it in terms of your speciality, because as you said earlier on, she's a lawyer and a career diplomat. So I don't think she has a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge in terms of sports. But then again, we have a lot of people out there who would be willing to help, who would be willing to come on board and advise her whenever she needs that particular advice. We've got the likes of Paul Tergat, who's doing very well right now. So we have a lot of well-known sporting figures in this country that could come on board and just help her do her job better. But then again, that all will always depend on whether she's really going to go out there and ask for that particular help. Because at times you have people or leaders in certain dockets who feel like they're well equipped to handle whatever it is that they've been given to do, and it's very difficult for you to approach somebody and ask them whether they need help. So again, I think it's high time that she reaches out just to understand how this industry works. Because there'll be a lot of nitty-gritties that right now she doesn't understand. But if she reaches out to people out there, she'll be able to have a feel of what the sport industry looks like, and that will be able to give her a way forward and a plan that would probably be able to turn things around for our country.
Yes, I think she needs help, and she'll get the help. She's a diplomat. She's someone who has portrayed herself to be someone who would like to negotiate. I think there are various people. Modo has talked about Tergat. There's also the likes of Dan Shikanda within the soccer fraternity. She can get help. The only problem is that if she comes into the ministry and she'll be wary of each and every person who would like to come and assist her. She needs just to open up and feel comfortable, and at least, and that's why I talk about meeting the stakeholders. Go meet these federation bosses, just to try and break the ice, because there's a lot of tension. Many of the football or sports commentators feel that she's not well placed for that job. So to break that ice, let her meet the stakeholders, and I know she might do well, because Kaberia, the PS, has been there for some time. He's someone who at least is somehow moving into the system. He's somehow grasp what's happening into the system, and I believe the likes of the former sports commissioner Gordon Oluoch is still within that ministry. So she'll have a lot of assistance. I just hope and pray that she'll seek for the assistance, and when she gets the assistance, she gets somebody who will give us something positive.
Perfect. Let's now shift focus to Tanzania. As you're aware, the FIFA Independent Ethics Committee has banned Tanzanian referee Oden Charles Mbaga for life after being found guilty of accepting illegal payments. While the world governing body did not give details of the bribery allegations, reports quote FIFA as saying that Mbaga accepted bribes to manipulate several national and international matches between 2009 and 2012. Mbaga was also fined $200,000. Wow, interesting. Of course, $200,000, that means you got quite something. You know what I mean? Eh? So now, match officiating. This is something that has been a very, very big issue. Gor Mahia played Al Hussein yesterday, and of course, you know what happened. You know what happened.
Yes, yes.
Now, the issue about match officiating, referees being kind of tipped left, right, center. Before I go to this matter, of course, Gor Mahia played yesterday. They lost 1-0. Are you satisfied with that result?
Well, it was disastrous to say. For me, it was disastrous for the officiating that I saw yesterday in Algiers.
Officiating, that
yeah, the officiating.
Yes.
I saw in Algiers. And I think it's quite rampant in Africa.
It's rampant.
Also in the North Africa, where referees are normally influenced. Because when you look at that table, just before the two matches that were played yesterday, when Zamalek was playing Pedro Luanda in Angola, just before that match, Gor Mahia was so comfortable on group in that group D. But after the two matches, you can now realize that things have changed. And I think the game changer was that particular match where Gor Mahia lost 1-0. I think the center referee was somehow influenced, and it's something that is happening, and it's real in Africa.
Tanzania. Just neighbors around, and you know what happens. You see, when a neighbor is kind of akinyelewa, pia jipange. Now, you see, in Kenya, we also had issues. Left, right, center. Investigative journalists coming in, tapping on these guys, kind of tempting them in 2, 3 or 4 things. But you see in Tanzania, where football is not so common, but man, you're bribed to manipulate matches. What do you think about now our region? Is it in danger?
It certainly is, and I think speaking about closer home, sometime last year we had our very own Aden Marwa, who was also banned for being implicated, in corruption scandals. I think officiating is a vital aspect of football, and if we are not very, very careful, then I think these particular officials are going to mess our game. Speaking about the Tanzanian official, I'd like to look at it differently. I think it's maybe a matter of them not being paid well enough, but of course that shouldn't be the reason as to why they should do that. Somebody like Aden Marwa is a FIFA referee. He's a referee that has officiated in World Cup, in African Cup of Nations, and that comes with very, very good pay.
Absolutely.
So I'd like to look at it from another angle in terms of Aden Marwa, because he was a well-seasoned referee who was on his way up to the very, very top of football officiating. So I think it's a matter of integrity, and I think as a country we've cultivated this culture of just taking advantage of every situation that comes your way. You don't really get to feel bad when you're taking money just to not be able to fulfill the mandate that you've been given. So again, it's messing our game. It's making it very, very difficult for some of our players to be able to play well, at the top level. Because, and talking about the Gor Mahia scenario, I think the players gave everything that they had, on that pitch yesterday. They did absolutely well. They even scored an away goal that was disallowed, mysteriously. So I think it robs our players of their rightful place in the society. Kenya right now is starting to creep back into the football stage, and as far as African football is concerned, and I think Gor Mahia has been championing for us in that aspect. But right now the officiating has started slowing their progress. Because last season they also got eliminated in the same
North African
region of Africa. So again, I think that's something that CAF should really look into if they want a game not to be brought into disrepute.
Tanzania has Singida, Simba, Yanga, all these teams. These big teams actually that even Tanzanians hold dear closer into their hearts. But you see, when a match official has been implicated, actually in Tanzania, it's second time in as many years. Now, Arocho, do you think now this will actually now put the region under scrutiny? Because already Tanzania is just Uganda, Tanzania is just Kenya.
I'm having a very big problem with this FIFA report. I'm normally very critical about FIFA.
I know.
And I have a problem with this report. Because look at it this way. Well, it's not that I'm condoning the vice, but I want just to be, I just want to think outside the box. Why is it that just before a major tournament, we have a scandal? Just before the World Cup,
we had a scandal.
We had a scandal within our region.
Before African Cup of Nations.
We're having another scandal.
Another scandal.
I had a talk with a very senior referee in this country. He told me, Arocho, as much as he's also not condoning the vice, there is a problem between the two strong speaking nations in Africa. The guys who speak French and the guys who speak English. What happens within the CAF kind of politics is that whenever they see an English-speaking referee progressing so well, they'll try and curtail his growth.
Wow.
And it's something that is very sensitive. Once again, Dimba, just go and look at your research. Just before a major tournament, just before the World Cup, they had an issue with Marwa. Yes, it was confirmed that, and there was evidence against Marwa. In Baga's case, there's no evidence. They've just said that, well, they did the investigation. They didn't.
2009.
Yes, they didn't. And now look at it. That's why I was going. Aden Marwa's issue happened in 2012. The issue came out just before the World Cup. Mbaga's issue happened in 2009. Why is it being brought in now just before Africa?
Then top referees.
Yes.
Top referees, actually. FIFA referees, actually.
Yes. What he told me, there's some politics within CAF and FIFA, where they try to make sure that they keep you in check. The other day, we had another referee from Kenya who was doing so well within the region. He was cut short. What is happening is that 80% of referees in Africa receive bribes. They have that evidence. But what they do, they keep that evidence with them until a major tournament to make sure that they keep you off that list. So basically, everybody is corrupt within the region, within Africa, but they keep it with them.
That is interesting, Modo. As you're winding this up, are you with the Arocho on this? Because now it's actually now brewing some other conversations that even some other match officials, they actually receive bribes. Of course, you had a sample of Gor Mahia in Algeria. That's quite unfortunate. So they wait until the biggest showpiece for them to actually put you down.
I think the timing is just a coincidence. And, with regards to the conversation that Arocho had with that particular referee, I think this is a guilty party that's just trying to weave this narrative that they are always targeted. I think it's very, very difficult for FIFA or for CAF, for that matter, to conclusively, make these investigations with with very little time frame. Because as you said, yes, maybe it's something that happened in 2009, but you should understand that these are dealings that have been done, with the most discreet environment possible. So for you to get to the nitty-gritties, to get that particular evidence that somebody was implicated in corruption, it's going to take time. It's definitely going to take time. So I think the fact that maybe these allegations normally come out before a big tournament might just be a coincidence, because they can't really bring out accuse people without conclusively investigating and finding out who's culpable and who's not. So again, it's just a matter of coincidence.
Okay, thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming. Arocho, Modo, hope to see you soon again.
Yes, sir.
Good job you've done.
Thank you.
And who do you nominate maybe to help Ambassador?
Well, the various people. I'll bring in Paul Tergat and perhaps Dan Shikant as far as soccer is concerned.
Modo?
They're the same gentlemen. I think
Same
they've done
gentlemen.
very, very well
Okay.
for our country in terms of sports, so they
Alright.
should be in a good position to help our new cabinet secretary.
All right. From 16th, sports finale starting right here on not on Morning Live, on Switch TV. You know, we have to be sports-loving nation. So at Switch TV also, we put something aside for sports. A very powerful team we have right here. And of course, you guys, you're welcome anytime. So good job you've done.
Thank you very much.
Now taking a short break. When you come back, conversation continues right here on Morning Live. You want to focus on what is happening in our campuses. Trust me, this will be very interesting. All that after a short break.